Just about to throw up mom spaghetti. You already know. No, I mean,
Yeah,
yo, 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 what it do, what it do? It's your boy L.A Khalil. I am joined with a really good friend. I known him for like a good year or two, maybe a year and a half. We've
pretty
talked about
much.
music. We talked about everything, things that I shouldn't be talking about. He gets super annoyed, but he is the OG, the one that's been, feeding the streets with the beats. He has one of my favorite beats of our time, Final Fantasy. That Final Fantasy beats hard.
Dog, yeah, I appreciate it.
Welcome, Ahmad the Prince. Good to
Bruh.
have you.
Thank you for having me here. Like, to be honest, this might have been one of the greatest intros you ever pronounced or even like performed.
Thank you.
That shit's great.
Thank you. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to all the first responders, still to everyone that's, battling with COVID, anyone that's going with COVID. Still, I'm still thinking about y'all. Y'all still in my hearts. It's Black History Month, and I'm so blessed to have just a amount. It's a crazy amount of Black friends, Black artists, Black creators, Black voices that are going beyond just either the basketball courts, the field, the canvas, the booth. People that are, actually putting their voices to things that need to be talked about more than just the entertainment or art. I feel like you're one of those that, I can rely on to have a really good sound learning lesson with,
Hmm.
Black Lives Matter. You're down based in Atlanta. A lot of prestige history has occurred there. And before we get into the art, I just want to like have you just give us a tour, let us know, give us some knowledge, drop some gems about Black history, as we celebrate Black History Month.
Shit. Well, to be honest, man, I'm honestly gonna be real with you. Black History Month, I wouldn't say it's something I would really be celebratory all of like pretty much all of my years because while you're growing up, you start to realize when you're being introduced as a black man or a black woman or anybody with a skin color that's been oppressed in some way, shape, or form, you feel like every day you fight to survive, right? So I feel like celebrating certain artists and certain people who have made our landmark a landmark in the United States and outside the US, like Martin Luther King, Langston Hughes, and Rosa Parks, those type of people, they've been shown to us as a great landmark for this month only. But I feel like we should be celebratory of Black excellence and celebratory things like that after and before February even begins. So that's my
Right.
opinion.
Right.
So with that being said, there's a lot, like you said, a lot of people who have been making their names here and other people outside. Hell, before I moved to Atlanta, I was staying in Augusta for like a good decade. So I've been accustomed to listen to a lot of James Brown, and I even have like a vinyl player that like I got like a lot of tapes and shit that have you know Langston Hughes and James Brown and all those other type of artists there. So I'd
Right.
be playing them out from time to time, just making like just making a vibe from it, and also just like to make some more music from it, like low key.
Hmm. I have a I have a I have a confession about Martin Luther King. It just you said his name and I remembered. Um, maybe let's say 2015, 2016. I was watching the NBA game, right? I was still new to watching NBA and basketball sports. And it was
Yeah,
the Martin Luther King Day like game. It was like Cleveland versus the Warriors when they were good. And I finally realized, and this is a true story. I got a lot of heat for like comedy, funny heat for it. I finally realized MLK Day was Martin Luther King Day. I I swear to God, for the longest time, I shouldn't even be saying this. I always thought it was Milk Day, but with the I took out to be a bit shorter than saying Milk Day. I don't know why. I always say whenever I look at like Martin Luther King, I'm thinking MLKJ because I always say Martin Luther King Jr.
yeah.
I never put MLK with Martin Luther King Jr. And I just try to sit back and all the days in like elementary school, I just never put two to two together. I never like saw it as Martin Luther King Day, MLK. I just never saw that. Like
So
I
you
knew what MLK was, but I just never put MLK Day with like Martin Luther King.
uh-huh.
And I just I just I asked myself, how do I still how am I still here? And I
Wait,
literally
so,
I have to ask myself,
yeah.
like, how did I make it out of middle school?
I
Or
think the question I gotta ask you is how the hell did nobody tell you sooner?
because I never I just when I was in school, I just sat back. If I had a question, I didn't answer it. Like, I didn't ask it. You know what
Right.
I mean? I just see it and then I just come to my own conclusion, which I usually did up to
Yeah.
like high school. And I just left it alone until I
Mhm.
was like 2006. It had to be like 2016, 2017, just watching the game. And then they started talking about it and then it just clicked, you know?
Facts.
And then I'm like, okay, should I even be here right now? Like I just no, there's plenty of situations where I've done that. And it's just I don't know why. I don't know how I'm still making it. But back to what you're saying about like Martin Luther King, Langston Hughes, even some of the greatest like musicians, I was listening to the American Gangster soundtrack by Jay-Z, you know,
Yeah.
Frank Lucas. I mean, sure he's not the most notable, heroic, noble, black figure, but he did what he had to do. The Renaissance in New York, New York Renaissance with music, business, black music, black business, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I try to look at like Black History Month, and like you said, like this isn't something I would be so up for being, in celebratory fashion either, because Black lives have to just go through, the road and the mountain every single day, and I look at certain holidays like Christmas or Thanksgiving, like Thanksgiving, for example, where we all gather our families and everything like that. I ask myself, why can't we have more than that?
Yeah.
Why is it only like 1 or 2 days because of a holiday where work will actually give us time off to go visit our family? Why can we not have more of those, intimate times? Because definitely with like how the years are progressing and definitely with politics and things like that, where there's so much divisiveness in the world, turmoil, things of that nature. We need to be a bit more close with our families, close with our loved ones, and I feel like, the work industry and things like that, we're still kind of slaves to that, maybe we kind of, it's a different situation where we applied to come to this place, right? We weren't necessarily forced, but you have to realize, we're in our neighborhoods, we're limited to so much. You know what I mean? We're
Facts.
limited to so much, so we kind of have no choice but to go to that store, go to that place. Kind of like how they put liquor stores in our neighborhoods down the block, very convenient. They do that for a reason.
Yeah.
Because that it's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be in the nice colors. It's gonna be attractable, and they know service is gonna customers gonna come in there and stuff like that. And they just try to do these little ploys and putting things right there. Oh, that's convenient. Those billboards,
Exactly.
things like that. You know, I kind of I've kind of been just to the to the tricks and things like that. And it's up to kind of like us personally to like, what, I'm not even gonna play in that trick. I'm not even gonna play into that. Forget that. But
Facts.
it's still sad to even be in 2021, still dealing with racism, still dealing with colorism, things of that nature. Like it could be so much better happening right now, and we let just the color of our skin, like, you're darker than me, so I despise you. It's like, really, like, come on now.
It's just the way it is,
You know,
dog. And
that,
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was gonna say that with how racism is being brought up till now, and probably like 100, maybe 1,000 years into the future, depending on how things turn out, I always find it fascinating how a lot of things can be changed in like a little plant of a seed. So what I'm talking about is like, like you said, how racism always still being brought today, but